We're live here. We're live. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the No BS Real Estate Show, a podcast that gives you an inside look on how to make smart financial decisions while adding value to your life. I'm Matty Miller with ERA Real Estate, alongside my co-host and real estate investor extraordinaire, Ryan Robbins. Whether you're a longtime investor or a first-time buyer, join us as we dig through the everyday bullshit of real estate. And we are live with Ryan Robbins and the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I am Matty Miller. Welcome. You also heard the intro there. It's the same one every time.
Did the intro go through or what?
The intro went through. We're live. We're going.
We are
right
live.
Now.
Oh, hey, Matt. What's up?
Hey,
What's happening, buddy?
welcome to Monday, Ryan. Welcome to Monday.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day, and it's just a Monday. It's what it is. So, anyway, we are here talking today about something that was brought to my attention just the last couple days. I was having a conversation with somebody over the holidays, and talking about basically, have you talked about your buyers being on camera? And I said,
where are you going with this?
Yeah, I didn't know where we were going. I really didn't. I was like, what do you mean? And it was another agent, and I said, well, think about all the Google Homes and everything that's in people's houses these days, along with Ring doorbells, and not on top of normal security systems.
That's not where my mind went, by the way.
No, of course not. Yeah. No, my mind went down a way different place than where I went prior to that.
Back to real estate and showings.
So anyway, yeah, back to showings and being on camera. So with today's technology, apparently, with what's the new one now, the Facebook portal that Google's pushing, you have the Google Home videos, you have so many different types of, on top of regular surveillance equipment, because there are people who have hidden cameras all over their homes, whether they're monitoring kids, pets, intruders, whatever. They're also able to have outside surveillance, which is huge too. And all this stuff nowadays is recording audio too. Your freaking TVs, by the way, some of them have cameras in them now, to where if you're not sitting in front of them, it'll automatically turn off. That camera, and I don't mean to be conspiracy theorist here. I'm not saying that like the government's watching and everybody, oh my God, we're all going to be, whatever you do is going to be held against you in court. No, that's not what I'm getting at. I am getting at, however, the fact that sellers could absolutely review your emotions and your facial expressions and possibly the audio of what you said when you were in their home. That is absolutely something that can happen.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to think about. I don't know where to go with it, so I thought we'd have kind of an impromptu podcast about it. Yeah, where do you stand on this? Because it kind of weirds me out.
It's odd. It's one of those. I mean, you've probably been on camera, whether you've known it or not. If you've seen any number of houses, especially in this day and age. So how do I feel? It's like more so like what do you feel like when you actually walk into the house and you're on camera? That's or how do you prepare a buyer for that? How do you prepare a seller for that? I don't know. My personal house.
I've been thinking about it all day, like trying to when I was going to talk to you tonight about it, like what were we going to say about it? And I just, how do you have a conversation with your buyer? Like,
I guess you've got to come out right out from the start and just make them aware. Hey, look, we're going to be walking into somebody else's property. There could be they could be having surveillance on us. Essentially, what it comes down to. I mean, in this day and age, the Nest cams, the smart cams, the nanny cams, those are all so talked about. But to your point, there's people that have security cameras, that have had security cameras for years. The security cameras aren't new. Smart home cameras, those nanny cams, those are new. And that's the part where
the home surveillance systems that are smart home surveillance systems are new. That is a new thing to where they can have a camera in every single room and 4 on the outside, and they can
Yeah.
be recording audio at any point in time.
It used to
Now,
be years
per
ago,
Florida
you had to
law, let's
spend,
clarify.
thousands and thousands of dollars to
Oh,
have
yeah, yeah.
some, high-tech security system. Now you can go spend a couple $100 and set up your own cams, hook it up to your Wi-Fi, and you're good to go. You can see it from anywhere in the world.
Exactly. And you can see it from your smartphone, wherever you would. What if somebody's watching you live while you're looking at your house? Like, that could happen. Like,
There's people
that
watching
it
us right now
happens.
live,
Probably. I don't know. I mean, I got a
hacking
webcam
in,
here. Yeah, whatever. I don't know why anybody would want to watch me do a podcast when I'm recording myself, but at the same time, yeah. So how's that conversation go? Like, and let's be fair. Florida law says that you are allowed to record video, but just not audio. Um, our question is, and we talked about this earlier when we were talking about doing this as a topic, was who's actually keeping track of who's recording
Yeah.
audio? And I guess the reason why it tripped my trigger to talk about it was like I'm just envisioning a scenario where, you go into a house with a buyer and the buyer walks in and it's an older home of somebody who's in their late 60s, early 70s, and they have some, let's just say, some floral wallpaper, whatever. Okay, it can be anything. It's just an example. Floral wallpaper. Buyer walks in and goes, "Ugh, what? This is terrible. Who would ever do this?" And by the way, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've probably said that when walking through houses to my buyers, and they've reiterated the same thing to me. Okay, so same kind of thing. You walk in, you go, "Oh God, that's terrible. It's wolf. That's awful. How does anybody live in that crap?" All right, and one of two things can happen: is either they have their audio and they can hear you say it, or two, and both can equally be as detrimental to the deal as anything. They have your video. They see your facial expressions. Okay, so let's put this in a multiple offer situation where 3 people see that house. Another person is an older lady who walks in there and has video and says, "Ooh, I love the wallpaper. I think it's great." Okay, now we have a multiple offer situation. You don't think that homeowner, because homeowners are emotional, sellers are emotional. They want somebody to take over their house that's going to like their house, that's going to love their house, that's not going to tear it apart. They're going to just keep it the way it is and live it and enjoy all the awesome wallpaper that you put up and everything else. So there's that. And can that affect the deal? Because I think it can.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it's probably happened. We just
I
don't
think
know.
outside of multiple offers, it can affect the deal. If somebody comes in and says, "Oh, this looks like shit," well,
Yeah.
I may not want to negotiate, further down. Maybe I'm going to stick my price because I'm going to secretly stick it to you, like you unbeknownst, kind of
And the
took a
thing
dig
is,
at me.
and half the time, no agent would ever know that
Yeah.
you're doing it because the seller probably didn't ever tell the agent that they had cameras in the house. Guaranteed it.
I think the only time it would come up probably on a legal side, because again, to that point, how would you ever know? There's no, oh, I saw cameras. I need to go see the recordings to make sure you weren't, recording my audio. I don't think you have a right to do that in general.
You
But
don't, but
if you,
that's what
but
I'm
if you
saying.
walked into a house and, you were scheming on, hey, let's do this, that, and whatever to try to get the price down. And then they use that against you. Like, well, hey, we're not going to do that because blah, blah, blah. We heard you say, or we heard you do whatever. Then at that point, you could potentially, file some legal actions. So that's probably where you'd have to be more careful as a seller as far as the actions you take if you're recording.
So I guess in my situation, and next time my next listing will be like next week. So I am
Pretty confident,
absolutely,
huh?
yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Be next week, and I am absolutely going to ask with the seller, do you have anything that's recording anything in here, audio or video, anything inside or outside the home?
And just so everyone's clear, we don't, and I don't have the answers to that. We can only discuss and say, hey, look, you can't record anybody audio wise. You can record video. Now, what stance do we take as agents? What can we do outside of telling them the legalities? We can't technically make them turn it off.
No, I think the conversation that I would have with them, again, I think the conversation is, first I would ask them if they do. If the answer is no, okay, don't worry about it. Okay. If the answer is yes, okay, I'm going to ask you during showings if you'd please turn that off.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think that I don't want to be in that situation as an agent. Okay, being put on the hook that my buyer or my seller recorded audio and or video, either one, whichever one's legal or not. I don't even want them to have video of it. I don't want them to be watching the showing while it's going on, because they could do that. And who's to say they're not going to? Even if you can record video,
odds are, if they have it, they're going to probably, even if they've got something going on, they're going to take time aside to make sure they're watching you walk through.
Yeah, 10 minutes to walk through the front door, and they're going to say, oh, they look nice.
And we're looking, it doesn't necessarily have to be anything bad. If someone's walking through your house, I love this thing. Guess what? That's just that's some self-pride going right toward you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's more so of a...
and then that's where it would come in on the buyer side, because if you're walking through and you're saying, I love this, I've always wanted, this refrigerator, I always wanted whatever. Well, guess what? When you try to knock them on a price, they're going to go,
that price is going to go up.
Actually, I don't think so. I know you really want this.
Yeah, I know you really want this. And it becomes a bartering situation.
Yeah.
And I just feel like in this situation, and I don't know what other states have done. I just kind of thought about it today, and I'd like to do some more research, and I will. We'll probably have a follow-up podcast on this. As far as what other states are doing about it, and I think it might become an issue.
Yeah.
In not only in real estate transactions, but I can think of other businesses that do the same thing. They're recording stuff, and I guess if you're a business, you have a right to record video and/or audio on your premises because that's somebody doing business with you. In real estate's the one thing that's you're not really doing business with that person as of yet.
Yeah.
You were thinking about it, but you don't have access to control of what's going on inside that home until you've had a deal together and you've closed.
Yeah, I guess in its simplest form, as a buyer and as a buyer's agent, if I'm going to walk somebody through the house, it's going to be, hey, there could be cameras in here. We don't know because it doesn't need to be disclosed. So if you walk into a house, you may not know ever if you can't spot them. So it's almost just, hey, let's assume there's cameras in here. Let's assume we're being recorded on audio, regardless of whether they should be doing it or not. Let's take the discussion outside or to the car or to a Starbucks after, and we'll discuss the property at that point.
Absolutely. I think that's the best thing to do. And basically go to the house, collect the visual data and grab it and go, all right, here's what it is. Here's the carpet. Here's this. Here's that. And probably keep it shorter than normal. And don't sit there and discuss, what you would do to the property and what you wouldn't do to the property and what you like about it and what are your top 5 things you like.
Keep it short and sweet,
Yeah, keep it short and
sweet.
Hey,
it's got stainless steel appliances, things you can see and point and touch and feel. You can point out things, but don't make an opinion about what you're pointing out.
No, or assumptions as to what might be behind that wall or what might be behind whatever the situation may be. So, because you're going to get a chance to do an inspection anyway, but the inspection is a whole different ballgame, and that's a third party. So that's not.
That's probably a whole nother spin-off to the conversation. What should you be discussing during the inspection? Because now if you viewed the property, now you're going to go back and you're going to literally be with an inspector with a fine-tooth comb going through it.
Yeah,
you've got to really be on the hush hush. That's touchy. That's going to be.
I think we're just on the cusp of it. I mean, we're tip of the iceberg here. I mean, this could go. I foresee this being probably a huge. Call me crazy, but this is going to be like a Supreme Court case in like less than 2 years. Yeah. Like something's going to happen on a major sale, and this is going to come down to, hey, are you allowed to do this or are you not?
I don't think to me you're always going to be able to have. I mean, okay, even if you can't have a hidden camera, well, guess what? If it's hidden and you can't see it, and you don't know it's there, it could still be there. I think it's going to come down more to a disclosure thing. You're going to have to sign something before you go into. You could be recorded or, either video or audio. I don't think they can stop it. They're just going to have to disclose it. Yeah, disclose it. It's probably disclose the potential.
So it's probably going to become part of the contract that as a listing contract. Hey, here's what it is. This information can't be used to make any price changes, barters, no negotiations based off the information that you see in audio or video. because it's still ultimately their house. So you can't necessarily say you can't do it. You still own the house, and I'm surveying my house because for safety. Like, even though I'm selling it, like it's almost made my mind go crazy. I'm probably gonna like not sleep tonight, and just start thinking about it. Like, man, how many houses have I been where I've said something that, say or whatever, or my clients have said something bad, and I've never had that conversation with them.
Yeah.
So to me, that's probably my fault for not even thinking about it and not saying. And I don't think it's ultimately affected any deals yet that I know of. But then again, I would never know.
Yeah, you don't know.
We'd never know.
Yeah.
We'd never have any clue. We missed out on that deal. It was highest and best, but they heard us say something and they have no clue.
And this is another spin on it too. But what about, okay, we've all seen somebody post a video of somebody that did something in public and got in trouble for it after because they didn't have permission to film that person. What if someone's walking through your house and they trip and fall, or they do something that you find funny, you post it, regardless of audio? You can't do that either.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure it's happened.
At least I don't think so. Don't.
I feel like half these things on Facebook, like these little videos that come from stuff, and like that's stuff that comes off of hidden cameras. I mean, man, I just so where do you fall? I guess should they be allowed to film audio? I know video is legal, and I get it. So I guess I don't have a problem with outside surveillance from a safety issue, but inside, while there's a showing going on, do you think they should be able to record a video?
I guess
or audio. So give me both sides.
Where from an agent and a homeowner side, I can see why you'd want to, okay, look, you're in my house. Maybe you're going to be in the bedroom and you're going to go in the jewelry box and you're going to pocket a watch or a ring that even if you had surveillance outside, you could put it in your pocket and walk out. We would never know.
That's why I always tell somebody to lock up your valuables in a safe if you can.
Exactly. But I'm just,
that's how you avoid
from
that.
the argument, and most people,
time, I get it.
Why do you have a camera in your bedroom all the time?
Things are getting crazy.
There's another story. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole either. But
I think we should go to. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not going down that one. But
hey, that's what you're into. That could be the argument on the, from a seller. I don't want somebody stealing anything. There's plenty of items, even in your knickknacks, that may be personal to you, that somebody could pick up and easily walk out with, even if you had cameras outside that you wouldn't easily be able to pick up. So it's tough for me to make the argument because I can see it on both sides. The audio is essentially the same way. I think there should be a no audio, and I would stand behind that, but how do you enforce it really becomes the problem.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's not so much are you allowed to do it? Is it fair? But how are you going to enforce it? And there's no way. That just opens up a can of worms. I mean, it literally does.
That's a much bigger issue outside our pay scale, but.
Yeah, I would.
The people that are going to argue, I want to record and listen to what everybody's saying, are the same people that are going to argue, I don't want to be recorded when I walk through this property and view it for myself, Correct. They're going to take a hard stance one way and a hard stance the other way.
Which is funny because often somebody who's selling their home is probably also a buyer. Correct. But they're probably not thinking about it when they're on the buyer side versus when they're on the selling side.
Exactly.
Because they think they're the only ones that has home surveillance that has video and audio, and it's hidden so well that you can't even know. But yeah, so I think the conversation that I want to have with my buyers going forward is say, hey, just FYI, just before you walk into a house, like, hey, FYI, there's a chance that there can be cameras and or audio recording devices inside the home at all times at every house you're at. Just be cognizant of your facial expressions and what's coming out of your mouth, and then we'll talk back in the car.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or we'll talk at the Starbucks down the street, or whatever. I think that's something. I think it's a legit conversation that you have to have with your buyers.
Yeah, I think that's going to become common conversation.
Absolutely,
all the time. If it's not, and I've had the conversation because I physically walked into a property and seen cameras. So I've had the conversation at that point, but I haven't had the conversation ahead of time, knowing it's an issue,
knowing
at least it's going to be as frequent of an issue as it's going to be moving forward here. So
it's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just don't. I don't know the answer to it. I don't know if there is an easy answer to it. I'm just gonna, from a seller standpoint, I guess I'm gonna ask, my sellers, when I'm putting up a listing, is, hey, you guys have any, audio or video, and if for their protection, probably more than anything, what I would ask for them is to disable it during the times of the showings, um, and strictly let them know that they are not allowed to record the audio and video. Um, well, they strictly cannot do the audio, but the video especially is still something that I just don't want them to get involved in anything or give the buyer's agent any kind of thought that whether it was something we said or a facial expression or we were yucking it up in the kitchen or whatever, laughing about something, giggling about something, whatever it was. I don't want them to give any kind of impression that that could have an effect on the final outcome of them getting the house or not.
So while you're talking here, I was just pulling up on realtor.com. Does your state allow clients to be recorded? So this, come on, Realtor Magazine. They haven't updated it since 2012. It's an old article, but at that point, it looks like there's one party consent and all party consent, which I don't know what the difference between one party and all party, because as a buyer's, so like if I'm an agent and I know, is that one party consent or?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And what's all party consent? Obviously, all party would be everybody, but
everybody.
Yeah. So yeah, so it's going to vary state by state. There's X's on each column depending on what state you're in. So that'll be the other play on all of this, depending on where you're listening from. The rules, and you may actually be able to be recorded audio wise right now. That may not even be an issue. But if you don't know what's going on,
it's creepy,
there's your issue right there.
It's creepy. And and like I said, and a lot of people probably just never even think about it. Yeah. Just never would think about it. Right? Just ugh.
Think about all the CCTV and other cameras. You're on camera. There's very few places you're going in the world right now you're not on camera. Any store, sure. Every intersection,
And I think there's some people that, in the grand scheme of things is, they all think that the government uses it for whatever. I'm like, guys, listen, let me be honest with you. The government doesn't give a shit about 99% of the people in the United States. They don't care. Okay, they don't care about your weed stash in your house. They don't care about your cocaine habit. Okay, they care about terrorists and literally people blowing up important buildings and things like that. And that may be probably a stretch, but no, legitimately, the government probably doesn't care that you have a weed stash or whatever. They're not. That's not who they're looking to control. They're looking to control very prominent people, not the dude on the west side of Jacksonville that is, has 3 illegal guns. Doesn't, or better yet, in, Deerwood Country Club that has 3 illegal guns. Whatever. It doesn't matter where you're at or whatever. They're not looking to control guns and marijuana and drugs. They're not necessarily, unless you're trafficking large amounts of cocaine from, off the shores of Miami, then maybe they might be using that for you. If you're, getting an oil tanker and it's full of, cocaine from Colombia, that may be a whole different thing. But
do you have firsthand experience with this? Because you seem to have a lot of knowledge on how to traffic.
No, actually, I would do it in a submarine, but that would be my personal thing. Actually, there's an interesting 30 for 30, the ESPN 30 for 30 stuff, right?
Yep.
And this is a quick tangent on trafficking drugs, and then we're going to wrap this podcast up. If you ever guys get a chance to watch it, it's about 2 wrestlers, and just Google it. It's 30 for 30 cocaine and wrestlers. Just Google it, it'll come up. And basically what it was is there was 2 high school teammates who were wrestlers. And one was a cocaine kingpin, and the other was a DEA agent. And the DEA agent was on his best friend in high school's case, and he didn't know it. And he had to arrest his best friend from high school. This drug ring that this guy was in was almost fueling America with 25% of the cocaine at one point in the mid 1980s and 1990s. This guy was huge. I mean, it was to a point where he was building a submarine, his own submarine to traffic drugs from, I want to say it was Colombia to the coast of Miami. And his drugs were coming into Miami, They had like a warehouse in Ocala, all the way through Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and pretty much going all the way to Texas, all the way to New York. So this is how big this ring was. It was massive. And come to find out, they actually arrested the guy. He did 25 years in prison, and he actually got out on good behavior. And he was a normal kid growing up. Like dad had money, like whatever. Went on a wrestling scholarship to, let's say even like I can't remember where it was, like North Carolina State or something. But anyway, it was a long story about that. So that's where my cocaine knowledge comes from, is the 30 for 30 on ESPN. But yeah, that's what you'll go with that. Okay, fair enough.
Leave it there.
Leave it there.
All right, so video camera filming in and out. We're gonna circle back on this.
Yeah, we're gonna do a follow-up podcast on this because I want to get some other people's opinions.
We're gonna expand our knowledge, and
yeah, absolutely.
So. I'm sure we're gonna come back with some sort of content. We're gonna find some funny story, some funny pictures, something to share. Legally.
I'm gonna be like looking for it from now on. That's the thing. So I'm gonna notice it and be like, oh, there it is, and or I'm gonna ask the question too. So it's just not a question I've asked.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you guys later.
Yeah, if you guys have, I was gonna say, if you have questions that you'd want to ask in regards to being filmed, let us know. Anything you want us to find out before the next episode, drop us a comment.
Not any like erotic filming action right now. Not about that. No, okay, just filming when you're showing houses. Got it.
That could be a topic. If somebody's walking through a vacant house, I'm sure that's happened before.
Using it as a adult film scene.
Maybe, you never know.
I'm sure it's happened.
I mean, I'm sure people break into houses and throw parties. You could probably,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
American X,
There's been crazier shit to happen in this world. I promise you that. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. We'll wrap this one up. If they have any questions, absolutely send us an email. You're ryan.robbins@era.com. I am matthew.miller@era.com. And shoot us an email. I'd be interested to hear anybody's stories about this or thoughts about this, and kind of where you land on the spectrum. If you have one, feeling or another, because I'm interested to know the general public's idea of
somebody has a good story, or if somebody's actually had a case that has something bad turned out, not only something maybe funny, but something where maybe it worked in your favor or worked against you one way or the other.
Love to hear it.
Yes, let us know.
So, all right. Well, if anybody's got a person, that person's going to become our first live caller. That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, hey man, I'm going to get out of here. You enjoy your week.
Yes. So, you do the same.
Go sell some houses, man. Go sell some houses. No, I lose you. Are you there? Are you there?
We're going through. Yeah.
We're still there. Go sell some houses this week. All right. Well, as we trip and fumble over our last minute here, we're going to let you guys go, and appreciate you guys joining us, and have a good one, y'all.
See you guys.